Michael, is all this making cable a bit more attractive looking now?
Well, at BNP Paribas, we are long-term sterling bulls. The economic outlook for the UK is very favourable, especially relative to the Eurozone. However, I think a key event next week will be the UK's inflation report. There is expectations that the Bank of England will be hiking rates before the end of the year. However, if there's any hints that this isn't the case at the inflation report next week, sterling could be vulnerable.
Sterling at the moment, cable of course is at the 168 level, sitting on the 100-day moving average as we speak. Do you think it's looking overvalued at this point, or do you think it's fair value?
So we think in terms of the short term, actually cable is looking vulnerable. So one of our short-term fair value models, BNP Paribas Steer, indicates that there is scope for cable to move lower. And if we do break that 100-day moving average, which investors do put a lot of attention to, then we could see cable move to the downside.
Okay.
So we think we need to actually wait a bit of time before we would enter long cable positions.
And Michael, Euro Sterling currently at 0.7966. Last time we spoke, you said you had a 0.76 year-end forecast. Does this still hold?
We continue to hold that forecast. We continue to recommend short Euro Sterling. We think this is a more compelling way of being long sterling, so by selling the euro rather than selling the dollar. And one of the reasons for that is that the ECB has been very clear that they're going to be keeping a very accommodative stance for some time.
Let's talk about the Aussie now. Rates unchanged there. RBA also throwing back its inflation and GDP growth forecast. Has this changed your forecast at all for AUD?
We are bearish on the Aussie from here. Both our economists and the RBA are looking for inflation to be declining in the second half of the year, and quite dramatically, from about 3% to about 2%. In terms of the market's positioning, however, the market is still very long Aussie, particularly relative to the Kiwi and the CAD. So we like, as well as outright Aussie shorts against the dollar, we think that relative value trades, so selling the Aussie versus the Kiwi, selling the Aussie versus the CAD, are very compelling trades.
And Michael, investors also watching the lira ahead of the elections. How do you think the lira is going to perform, given that most investors now are expecting Erdogan to win?
Well, according to some of our short-term metrics going into the election, the Turkish lira is looking oversold. So we think there's scope for Turkish lira to rebound, so dollar Turkey to move back lower. The other also very important thing that feeds into this view is that Turkish rates are starting to tighten, and this is very supportive for the Turkish lira from here.